good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of you. Thank you so much for joining us today. I would like to acknowledge the esteemed participation of the honorable dignitaries who have joined us today for the Foreign Ministers session number 2 of the second Voice of the Global South Summit. The theme of this session is Global South and One Development. We'll begin the session by playing a short video showcasing key outcomes of India's G20 presidency. It will be followed by introductory remarks by the External Affairs Minister of India and then remarks from each of the honorable ministers joining us. I'll now request the technical team to please play the video.
This Voice of Global South Summit is a collective effort for gaining noble ideas for our collective futures. India's G20 presidency has tried to give a voice to the Global South. सबका साथ की भावना से ही भारत ने प्रस्ताव रखा था कि अफ्रीकन यूनियन को G20 की स्थायी सदस्यता दी जाए। Enhance action on commitments under the UN Climate Convention and the Paris Agreement. This will be crucial in helping the Global South fulfill its development aspirations in a climate-friendly way. I strongly believe that it is our collective responsibility not to let the sustainable development goals fall behind. We should find solutions to address the debt risks faced by many countries. We must find ways to build sustainable and inclusive food systems. Our vision of One Earth, One Health envisages good health for the entire ecosystem for humans, animals, plants, and the environment. When women prosper, the world prospers. Their leadership fosters inclusivity and their voices inspire positive change. We can advance financial inclusion and productivity through digital public infrastructure. Scaling, reskilling, and upskilling are the mantras for the future workforce. Respond to the priorities of the Global South by framing an inclusive and balanced international agenda. The voice of the Global South needs to set its own tone. Together, we need to escape the cycle of dependency on systems and circumstances which are not of our making.
Excellencies, I now invite the External Affairs Minister of India, Dr. S. Jaishankar, to inaugurate the session and deliver his opening remarks. Sir.
Thank you. Excellencies, greetings from New Delhi. My namaskar to all of you. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you to the second Voice of the Global South Summit. The success of our first Voice of the Global South Summit carried us through this entire year of India's G20 presidency. And it is crucial that we come back to this group of friends as we take stock of an extraordinarily eventful year. India took over its G20 presidency in the backdrop of a deep divide in the international polity, devastation caused by the COVID pandemic, increasing stresses on global food, fertilizer and energy security, and an intractable debt crisis. This context made us conscious of the great responsibility of assuming the G20 presidency. In fulfilling that task, India's anchor was the Global South. Its voices inspired our priorities, fueled our efforts, and galvanized a path-breaking consensus in a very diverse group. We come back today not just to thank you for your support and inspiration, but to deliberate further on the state of the world and the complexity of our challenges. At the first summit, we heard your concerns about the rising impact of climate change, tightening global markets, and an increasingly conditional and narrowing global resource mechanisms. As we speak today, conflicts around the world have only further exacerbated humanitarian challenges. Climate change continues to have a disproportionate impact on least developed countries and small island developing states. Prospects for a global economic recovery remain challenging. Excellencies, the New Delhi G20 Summit refocused that body, and the world looks at the global development agenda, linking it to every major agenda before us today, be it climate change, energy transitions, or technology transformations. Even the contours of the climate debate were redefined by anchoring it in a holistic narrative, looking also at the demand side of polluting our environment. We democratized the narrative by bringing focus on individual actions through the LIFE initiative, that is Lifestyle for Environment. We imbued the energy transitions discussions by emphasizing that it must be a globally just one. We highlighted that the localization of SDGs need to be accompanied by the internationalizing of its resourcing. We created templates for progress in SDGs by harnessing digital tools and infrastructure. And finally, we brought back the G20's focus to its original mandate, which is sustainable development. This is demonstrated, amongst others, by the consensus on the G20 Green Development Pact. It is all about achieving major global agendas in an interconnected manner. The New Delhi Summit also highlighted the need for restoring trust in multilateralism. There is a strong expectation in the Global South, which must be further built upon through its messaging today. By securing a permanent membership for the African Union in the G20, we have shown that global groupings are amenable to change. The same spirit must now pervade the reform of the United Nations. Excellencies, Prime Minister Modi firmly believes that the success of our G20 presidency is the success of the Global South. As we mark the end of this year, we urge you to keep our collective voices robust as we take our mission forward. The endeavors undertaken during India's G20 presidency under our theme of One Earth, One Family, One Future will not end on November 30th, 2023. With your support, It will continue to be heard as we work to realize our vision for a world where truly no one is left behind anywhere in the world. Recognizing our shared past, the Global South will continue to make efforts for One Earth and to strengthen the voices of the developing countries. As one family, the Global South will continue to act with everyone's interest in mind and drive transformations while building synergies. Creating our one future will need making our international institutions future ready and increasing their effectiveness and representativeness of their decisions. The theme of today's Voice of the Global South Summit, which is Together for Everyone's Growth, Together for Everyone's Trust, is a mantra for our future actions in this direction. The world listens to the voice of the Global South. We saw that in New Delhi this September. I thank you for joining this effort to make sure that this voice continues to resonate around the world. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.